This is your daily market recap for Thursday, May 5th, 2022. This is an early intraday recap. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Thursday, May 5th, 2022. I'm doing it a little early, got some things to go over and get done this afternoon. I wanted to start this review so that people could be ahead of the game going into the close potentially, and also to see what we're looking for. If you're new to the channel, new to following, check out the Discord room, link is in the description below. I'm building my swing positions that I want to buy, looking at, tons of names here, lots of favorites. I mean, a lot. I've started right now with the metals and miners, and after that we will update probably more material based. I mean, there will be some tech names that I'm going to throw in here, but just in general, I will be adding my swing like the swing trades that I think are setting up when the market does bottom and capitulate. Again, if you're newer to the channel, check out the Discord room, link is in the description below. If you're looking to learn and need help, guidance, thoughts, to run through your thoughts, a good place to start. Also, too, check out Twitter. I'm always posting what I'm doing there, trying to keep people updated, because again, in a market that's very volatile, you got to be on top of things. You got to see things from every perspective, but also know what matters and what doesn't. And a lot of people, I think, focus on the wrong things when markets get volatile, and they look to the news and the masses for the answers. And I promise you there, the casino is only going to post the news that they want you to take a bite of and lose on. Trust me, they're not in their interest is not to help the average person make a correct decision. Their interest is what? To take the most amount of money from the most amount of people. Remember, here in December too, we talked about what was going to happen, and it is happening as we speak. And so at this point, just be aware. Market's not probably going to peak bottom until you puke. People don't realize this. We'll get into the NASDAQ and show you that. There was literally a 50% down move in the NASDAQ before it bottomed in 2000. We'll review all that again, as we always do in the videos, but this is one thing at a time. Bitcoin said what? Watch the trend line. It looks like it's breaking it. I've said this over and over and over and over. If you couldn't break out, it's starting to look more like a big head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, right shoulder, head. If that is the case, that means Bitcoin has damage and down potential. And again, a lot of bulls don't want to hear that, because I don't really know a lot of people who short Bitcoin, but that's just the reality of it, folks. If this breaks, it could go lower. Know the levels: 35,000, 36 area seems logical, then 30. Draw back and even further. I mean, honestly, it could get really ugly. I mean, at a certain point, there is no support up here, right? So if it doesn't hold 30,000, I don't know what to tell you. I don't believe in anything for the long run. I think you have to trade the markets. Now, again, the long run, 20 years, 30 years, yeah, I get that. But ultimately, things change. And even in the SPY, the Qs, and that, the IWM, the names change. It's not like the same names are propelling the markets higher. And so that's what people, when they hold ETFs, different balanced machine versus individual names. I don't trust any name long term. It doesn't matter what it is. TLT. We talked about this yesterday. Now let's get into the Fed speak, because there's a lot of people who are like, the Feds are going to save us, yada, yada, yada. I think the biggest news yesterday that people didn't really have their brain wrapped around was the oil embargo from Europe. Now everyone's embargoing oil against, from Russia. The cost of inputs now just went up. It's going to go up. Now, again, oil price set in near term. And again, I think demand destruction is coming. The whole market ultimately will get slapped, even oil. But what do you have to know in your mind? That's not good for interest. I don't think the bond market appreciated that. The bond market's looking for deflation for rates to start dropping. Today's action, I don't know if it's a novice gap or professional gap. However, we are beyond the oversold conditions. Look at that. We're at the 200 month. I mean, who saw this coming? Maybe head and shoulders top. We saw it, but we also didn't think the Feds would let it happen. But it's almost like the governments and central banks are just digging into stupider and stupider stuff. Don't swear off Russian oil yet. Find a replacement, you idiots. I don't know. TLT, again, I don't think the market really likes to see oil rising. And that's the thing where the bond, like, I think right now there's a strong correlation internally. Now, again, they're not one-to-one, but the markets are not liking oil holding up, which is affecting bonds, which is going lower, which is affecting the stock market. Because, again, stock markets do not like higher interest rates. Okay? Let's get that, just keep that in mind. Like, the market's not liking higher interest rates quickly. Again, if interest rates were slow and choppy, like they usually are when they're in a range, fine. But once the market sees higher interest rates and it thinks it's going to be here for the long term, you got problems, y'all. You got problems. The dollar. I mean, I've tried to warn people, like, hey, I want to short the dollar. I want to short the dollar. Yesterday's action looked bearish, but one of the things that I've said over and over and over, this has been a big consolidation channel. At this point, it's making higher lows and higher highs, right? Is it ready to break out? I've said this a billion times. When the dollar gets strong at the end, it's probably the end of the actual dollar bull market, because what's going to happen is debt's going to get destroyed. It's all going to go to dollars, and then we're going to print endlessly, and that's going to eventually lose the credibility of the dollar. But the first move in a trap is the wrong move, right? So up would make sense in the dollar first before it's ultimately liquidated and becomes dirt. We'll see if that happens. Again, betting on the end of the world's tough. It doesn't happen often. And if you're right, there's really not much reward from it. The VIX, what did we say yesterday? Wanted to see the 25, 26 level. We got it, popped. I missed some trades today because if you can tell my voice, I'll say too, I'm always sniffling. I got a sinus infection that just isn't going away. I'm going to the ENT. You got to get antibiotics. It's so freaking annoying. It is what it is. But I'll miss trades. It happens all the time. At this point, what we talked about, I mean, we said in the SPY, and if you watched the video yesterday, we said it very clearly. If you watch the last hour and you watch the end, what did we say about this action? We said that was distribution. Now, if you don't know what distribution looks like on a chart, here you go. And print this in your brain. After a big up move, a doji at the highs with huge volume. Notice the volume bigger than every other candle. Stopping power. That was distribution. Now, I apologize. Like, again, my mind thought ultimately we would see a little higher high. Because, again, if you're distributing and you're the market maker, you don't want to wipe the market out in one trade. You want to, like, feed it and let the trade continue up moving so that they can feed more selling. They had no interest in such today. I mean, it literally was game over from the start today. And unfortunately, I was sleeping. I thought the first hour would be a game and I could come in and snag it. Nope. Didn't. Is what it is. So you're gonna miss trades. It's not like I'm chasing going, oh, I got a short now. No, because now we're back at the range lows on the SPY. I've said this a bazillion times. It's a head and shoulders top. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Remember that novice gap? Slam. So at this point, everyone's calling for head and shoulders bottoms and all this. No, wait for capitulation. When I mean capitulation, again, watch the previous videos. I've explained what capitulation is. Google it. It's where everybody pukes and fear blows out. And that's why we go back to the VIX. If this is a start of a major correction, a 30 handle on the VIX is not the peak. I mean, even during COVID, you got up to 80s. Are we going to hit an 80 VIX spike? No. That's why I have my channel, John. I have this point. I have somewhere in the 40s to 50s because I don't think things are as bad as COVID. I think long-term things are bad, but the market, what it does is it pops and then it'll trap people and then it'll go bull market rally. That's where I look for the bull market rally or the bear market rally is very strong. Like that action in March. Like that was a bear market rally off the Fed news. Like, so at this point, the Feds did not save the market. They never do. They've never navigated a soft landing. You can't pump trillions of liquidity into a market and then pull it out and expect the market to really handle it well. Someone has to feed the piper continuously. It's like Little Shop of Horrors. You remember that plant? That plant that they kept feeding it and feeding it and grew and grew, and eventually it ate it, wanted to eat Seymour. Well, that's the market. You keep feeding it liquidity, eventually it's going to want to eat you, Jerome Powell, because you're feeding it steroids and it needs more steroids to grow. And even less liquidity is not the same. And so there will be shrinkage because you've grown so large. I hope that makes sense. So let's continue on because, again, I think we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. It's going lower in time. Doesn't mean it's going to be a straight line. I just warn people that like the straight line move typically is near the end. That's why the last couple days action, man, I really wanted to see 430 on the short, SPY to short. Hopefully if you watched, saw the alerts, didn't get it. That this up moves, just it recalibrates everything so that it can go lower. Because again, what it does is it brings in more buyers, and if it goes lower and gaps down, what happens? They're trapped. More buyers trapped. I mean, again, in a move, you need sellers, and the sellers don't have to be all shorts. It has to be natural buyers liquidating. And if they're chasing pops and they fail, boom. That's all you need to know. Qs, same thing. This is the ugliest chart ever in the sense that people want to say it's bullish. It's got a head and shoulders top with a much lower right shoulder. Like, that's dangerous. That's super dangerous because that means it couldn't even get back up to the shoulder line in 380s. It's going lower in time. Again, I review this every time. And people were like, oh, I don't know what the markets can, capitulation, I don't know. Okay. And the first drop off of the 2000 highs, right? From top to bottom was approximately 50%. Look at that, mother. Look at that. Now, again, am I saying the market's going to drop 50% off the highs? No. But there is capitulation. And look what happened. Notice how we rally back slowly to come back lower. That's what I think needs to happen first. We need to see the capitulation. We need to see the markets. Like, look at the monthly now. Oh, I apologize. Let me go back to the monthly now. See that? Now look at now. Can you tell me if they look the same? No. I don't think it looks very orderly. I don't see a big red candle with a monster long wick. Could it bring us back to the 50-month? That's where I would be probably first identifying the obvious, like, NASDAQ bottom near term. It's probably going to be around here. And that's what I'm sticking to. Now, that would be a solid 30-40% correction, obviously, and that would be normal. If this was going to be a bear market and then pop, it's really hard to predict, I know, but don't bet on the Fed. Please, don't bet on the Fed saving the market. I'm telling you, they are hamstrung with their hands behind their back with little Seymour about to eat them. Market will put them to the test, as I like to tell people. Like, they will literally test the Fed's conviction to stay tight by doing what? Smash lower. IWM, again, lagging. Let's not even waste time here. Let's get into some of the things, because again, now the shopping list is coming out. If you're watching into this video, you've gotten to the good part. This is the stuff that I'm going to start talking about that we need to buy. Gold, 170s all the way down to 164. I know that's a big spot, but this is the absolute big dog. I would even go down. I mean, like, let's bring it down to here. The first zone at 170 is a buy with a stop. This area in the 160s, I think, is a buy with a stick it in your folder and let it roll, and let's see what happens. Now, again, could it backtest some of these other trend lines down here? I mean, it's ultimately possible in a liquidity crash, but I wouldn't bet on that ultimately being hard on gold, because I think people are waking up to gold. It's actually been holding up way better than silver, obviously. But when the liquidation breaks, you want to see it break. So 170 first, 160 the next one. Now, I know people are like, oh, that's a wide range. Well, if you buy here and it goes lower and you stop out and you buy a little bit, because again, if you're layering in and out, it's not going to hurt that bad. You're going to be like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And then you pray it goes lower. Not even pray. You're just like, huh, it's going to go lower. Same thing with silver. Like, look at it in the 1920 range. I mean, we're there now. I mean, this thing has gotten smashed. So what it makes me think is maybe the no-brainer buy zone becomes the no-brainer wait zone. And the zone actually to buy is down here. Draw it with y'all again. If you've gotten this far in the video, this is where the good stuff is. No, most people don't get this far, and they don't get to see. Oh God, what is going on there? They don't get to see the goods, because again, I mean, I got to get through the charts. I got to talk about things that are all relevant, and ultimately, the best stuff is what? It's in the again. I think it's materials, metals, miners. I struggle with oil because ultimately, I think oil will be replaced. Peak oil will probably bring in a higher price. And again, not that oil will be replaced completely. Like, it's obviously going to be need for transportation, or not transportation, for input costs. But the big waste on transportation is that end is coming. That end is coming. I don't know how that price is in. It's probably like the dollar. Before it dies, it has to go higher. Well, it is. I just don't think the upside is worth the reward at this point. GDX 2930. Put that in there. Like, that's what I'd be looking for. Now, again, we'll pull the monthlies up on some of these names. In worst case scenario, not happen in 16. I would guess probably the 100 month. But the 100 month doesn't have a history like I would say the 50 month, as you can see it. Like the 50 month, that's why the 29.30 range. Put that in your notes. GDXJ. We're gonna try to fly through these, and again, there's no rush. Like we're not at those levels, so you don't need to freak out. 37 to 40. Check the monthly. You can see it, 37 to 40. Again, please, if you're like, oh, you're moving too fast, hit the pause button. Come on, you can do that. Just hit pause or come back, stop by the Discord room. AG, I like it in the 9s, but I'm also starting to warm up to the potential that it could get back to the 6 or 7. That happened. Again, that's a buy. Let's go through them. AEM. I'm just gonna again blast through these things. I would like to see this. Again, I don't have these charts drawn as well. And again, if you go by the Discord room, I have my full chart views set up so that you can see what I'm looking at. I'd be looking at the 50 level. They had amazing earnings. It just got sold off and it made a lower high. I mean, that's what I'm trying to explain to people. Like, just because you like something, if the market is blowing out, it doesn't matter. Like, your favorite miner's name is going to get, boom, slammed. PAAS popped 21s. Newmont Mining. Again, I'm not going to buy this thing because it doesn't have the growth. I'm actually looking at, let me add this one in here. Let's get rid of Costco because no one cares about that. NFGC. This one is starting to get interesting to me. I will draw this for you live, how I'm drawing it, how I think it. Oh, I would like to look at it for a buy. There are a multitude of factors that are bringing me into this stock. And it reminds me of a time when I owned KL and that donkey ran. If you're familiar with my past, you know that we started buying KL before it got bought out by KM or by AEM. That thing we identified in the 8s and the 9s. And the rules are I don't like penny stocks. I like companies that are newer. They're recently IPO'd. So it's not like the management is just unloading stock. At some point, they're going to want to mark this up completely. Like the market maker has a reason to, because now they're the owner of a lot of stock when it went public. 2, the fundamentals seem strong. And now, again, fundamentals don't always matter, but Eric Sprout's buying. They've got good assets potentially. And again, if it was single, I hate penny stocks. If you come to me and go, hey, what do you think of this penny stock, Dan? I'm like, get out of here, because penny stocks have no value. Because if they had value, someone would already be, they wouldn't be a penny stock. Like, that's what I tell people. Like, don't even put your brain in that, like, that category of thought process. Like, just leave it alone. Like, I hate penny stocks because usually management is diluting stock and living on yachts and living up a high life, just smashing retail buyers of their stock because they don't care. They're just continuously liquidating, like printing more of it to raise money and spend more money. And they don't actually ever find anything with it. So, or they do and they don't care. They just sell off to someone later because they enjoyed taking shareholder money and just partying like rock stars. This one I like. 6s, no brainer. Let's get into some of the metals and metals commodity names. Letter X. I mean, I said I'd love to see it in the 28 to 30s, but now I'm starting to warm up to some lower prices. I think in 26s. Pray again, if it got back to 19, that would be awesome. They had an amazing quarter. Now I know everything's slowing down, whatever. This company has steel. This is the old good steel company. I think you broke, as you can see, like this is why technically I think people are starting to puke it up a little bit. You broke the uptrend. That uptrend is very subjective, obviously. I would look for lower, y'all. I would look for lower. I mean, this one's tough because it can get super wild and loose. So that's where it's like, when in doubt, zoom out. If you had to guess, it's going to be somewhere in this range, 26 to 28. I mean, are we almost there? Maybe. And this is the thing I'm interested to see is like when the market starts capitulating, you want to see who doesn't sell as hard. That's going to be a tell because that means it's already exhausted. Yeah, that's how it works, literally. If in a capitulation move, something's not dropping a ton, it's already exhausted and might not make a newer low, while things that are not exhausted will make new lows. All right, VALE 15 area, like it. I mean, again, let's just do this quickly. CCJ, I love my uranium friends, but man, they're like the new gold bugs that just don't have a brain. So that what's hurt, don't have a brain. They don't have the experience to understand how commodities can be rigged near term. I like this stock down in the 23, 22. I like it even better at 21. So I know that's a wide range, but let's zoom out to the monthly because this is the thing. I warned people. I said, hey, Watch the 50% fib. Watch the volume at price zone here. Watch the support and the resistance from muscle memory at this level. What did it do? It hit resistance, backed off. That's simple. Just be safe. Let's get into some of these commodity names because y'all know I like fertilizer. You got to grow food. What did we say yesterday? Or their amazing earnings. No follow through. Pull back 50s. Again, hit pause if you're not sure. Just take your time. And I'm going to wrap it through this. 80s, I love it. AMD talked about shorting at the 99-100 reference. Look what happened. Fail. Again, I hate tech long term because, again, if I think the Nasdaq's going to get smoked, I don't want to play with it. Apple hit the trend, backed off of it. Now, again, it's under the 200-day. I'm talking about this thing leading lower. That thing needs to capitulate. Facebook started shorting at 208, 210 right here, stopped out, got up to 223. I really wanted to see the trend high. Not short it at the moment. Can always come back to it later. I think Facebook is worthless long term. People will argue with me that it's got value, and it's like, okay, it's got value, but it's trading at 7 times future earnings when growth rate is 0. So what is the growth rate of something that doesn't have growth? You tell me. A lot lower. MicroStrategy said this thing is burned, toast, goodbye. Roblox, it's getting back to the interesting levels. This is going to be one that I'm going to watch when the market doesn't, when it tanks out. Oh, sorry, I'm writing a note because I'm just thinking about this. If this stock is going to get bought out, like Microsoft, some gaming company's going to buy this off. Roblox is a strong franchise, I think. Ultimately, again, if someone thinks or knows something differently, let me know. Start with the Discord room. I think if it holds the 29, 28, because I wouldn't be surprised if it did that and dropped. I would put in some orders, some low fishing orders. Tesla, again, the least experienced, non-understanding the market people are the ones still screaming this is a buy. Even Bill Gates is shorting this stock. Like, it just tells you a lot. Like, again, he didn't short it up to now. Or previously up to recently. There's a reason why. Elon Musk is kind of in a pickle, but also keep in mind, this company makes like 1/100th of all the cars in the world, yet is valued at every car company in the world combined. You're breaking the monthly channel. I don't know what else to say other than, again, you don't hold stocks forever because they don't always go up. And again, maybe at some point he'll do a secondary and buy stock, whatever. I'd be watching what? Probably the 500 to 600 range. Now I know that people are like, oh my God, no way. Yes way. That would be a nice 50% correction. 618, done. And then it might be worth buying for a scalp. PENN Gaming got over the 20 day word bumbling and failing. The stock is done. EXPI talked about great news, amazing news. Hit the 20-day. Again, in a bull market, and again, if the market's not bullish, nothing goes up. I hope people realize that. Like all these breakouts, and SJ put it perfectly. And again, he's one of our friends on the Discord room. In a bear market, bull market setups fail every time. Yes, they look like they're about to break out. Here's another one. Looks like it's going to break out and fail. That to you, if you can't see that this is a bear market action, then I don't know what to tell you because I've exhausted every amount of effort I'm willing to speak about on the topic. It's either obvious or it's not. And if it's not obvious, I don't know what to say. XOP. Let's end it on the oil names. Noticing this chop. Is that where we're at with the XOP? I've thought about that long and hard today after getting stopped out yesterday. And thinking, oh man, it's held to 20 days, 20 day moving average. I think the new zone needs to be up here. Let's put it under. I mean, I'm assuming the close is going to be somewhere in this 141. I like it for a scalp, but I also know that this thing could play out for a couple days. Because again, I'll repeat it again. If the market is going to rise, oil needs to come down. Oil service names will get absolutely drilled. They will be the gold. The equivalent of why is the market slamming this and the market going higher. That's what you need to see with oil. ExxonMobil, look at this stock. Really, really, really keen stuff going on here. Talked about levels. Well, look what are you double topping? Potentially. I mean, here's your retest. Watch it. Now again, if the market is going to get any semblance of up, it needs what? 2 things. These are the two things that you should be watching if you're not watching. And I'm telling you right now, and I'm waiting till the end again, because again, if you wait till the end, you get benefit. You see the positives of it. You need to see the bond market bottom, meaning people start buying bonds, yields going lower. You need to see what? Number 2, oil. Oil has been, where's my USO? Come on. There you go. USO has been on a choppy, sloppy, toppy pattern. Clearly, demand destruction is happening. Is this a false breakout? Because if it is, and this starts dropping, then maybe you get the market reprieve. Now, again, it doesn't happen all at once. Like, bond market could bottom first, oil market could top first before the market bottoms. Just keep that in mind. Like, look at the SPY. And this is the thing, like, if you don't get the capitulation in the retests and lower lows, I might take off a couple weeks again. And people are like, what? You're not going to trade for a couple weeks? No, I'll be around, but I'm not going to trust in a bottom that's very smooth. I know Seymour is going to get eaten by the plant near term. And again, he might fight back and win round 1. And that's what I'm waiting for, is that capitulation. Without the capitulation, I just don't trust this move. So I hope this helps. I apologize if this is an intraday recap, because I know the market hasn't ended today. But if the market rises into the jobs number tomorrow, then what? Then it's setting up to probably pop and then flop. That would be my guess. But always remember, like I talk about the repeating tendencies. And again, have a journal for this stuff, because I'm literally talking about it over and over and over. And if it always seems like it's new to you, it's because you don't have a list of notes. My notes are 20 pages back and front of things that I have noticed from the years. And again, I review that. I don't need to add more notes, other than we'll talk about this another day. The FOMC move Wednesday is actually the fake move, and now Thursday is the close of the move. It used to be the first action on Wednesday was the trap, and then it would go the other way. Now it's definitely Wednesday is the trap, and Thursday is the follow, the real move. But we'll get into that. Again, there's a lot of stuff to know, and if you think you can figure it out without it having it ingrained in your brain, when the emotions start firing up and the heat of the moment kick in, all that stuff goes out the window. Like, your brain literally drops it all. So that's where having it written down really helps, and knowing that you know. I'll talk to you. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.